we go. The new season's here. Welcome. It's a thrill to kick off our season and to have you all with us. We'll get to the head man here in just a second. But first of all, on behalf of the Hawks and the YMCA, we're thrilled that this Coaches Clinic has become an annual event for us. It's wonderful. I know that the college coaches in the audience, the practices started today and the season's kind of going. High school got a few weeks to go. We start next week, so it's really going to be great and really excited. Q, good to see you as always. Want to, as we get started, we'll be breaking it off into 4 sections that you all will observe, and we have our clinicians. Are the coaches out here yet?
Right over there.
Are they? There they are. Hello, guys. Good to see you. Let's put some names with faces. Second-year Hawks coach, the pride of Northwestern. He's a former Skyhawk, and Erie and College Park. Sanjay Lumpkin. Sanjay, wave so they know who you are. There you go. Fantastic. Regis Onwukamuche is in his second year, first as an assistant coach, player development background, now going to be an assistant. So Regis is here, and will show it how it's done in the pick and roll. First year with us in player development, last season was an assistant at College Park, Ashton Smith. And longtime NBA and international big man in his second year on the staff, played 13 years, actually played with Bogey once upon a time at Fenerbahce. Epi Udo. Epi, good to see you, man. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of your Atlanta Hawks, Quin Snyder. Well, buddy, it is always great to see you. I can't tell you, I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get a chance. Quin and the staff is so gracious to let me come by here and hang out and watch them work. For a basketball junkie like me, it's unbelievable. So thank you for that.
Our pleasure.
We have, as I mentioned, the coaches here are, sort of starting up or getting ready to start. Yep. I was just wondering from, sort of a philosophical standpoint, if you would, from a coaching standpoint, how much of it is like what you want to do, and then how much of it in getting ready for your season is what your players have, sort of the pluses and minuses of the players.
Guys, I'm on?
You are on.
Okay. Well, first of all, these guys over here, I feel like privileged to have the staff that I have, and I hope you guys, they'll do a great job. And anything that they're doing that you want questions on, ask them, and they'll be able to tell you a little bit about what we try to do. And that kind of is a segue into your question, in that I think for all of us, there's philosophically things that just agree with you or don't, like how you want to see the game played, whether it's somebody wants to be aggressive defensively, somebody else wants to pack the paint, like whatever those things are that we as coaches, believe in. Do you want to run? Do you want to play more in the half court? And then the other side of that is, what does your personnel actually allow you to do? And so I think you can't be hard-headed about this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. You can be, but that may not net the results you want. So I think for us, and we're going through that time right now where you always look at last year. We used Summer League to find out a little bit about things we think we want to try or, tweak a little bit and try to get some feedback from those games, even though, it's different personnel. Mm-hmm. So we're at that kind of math is at the centerpiece of a lot of the things we do. And I always felt like on a fundamental level, it's our job as coaches to maximize our personnel. Can we put a player in a situation where he hasn't a chance to be successful? And that's really, whether the ball goes in or not, sometimes, we don't control that. But I do think that there's things, for me at least, like I hope we're going to do it more this year. I believe in passing the ball. I think playing with the pass is something that's the way that I want to coach. That doesn't mean that we're always doing that, but I think as a general idea, the past connects us. We had a team last year that didn't do that as much, and in certain ways for good reason, that didn't necessarily play to that as well. So you're training players to do the things that you think they can do to be successful, and at the same time you're observing and analyzing those players to figure out what those things are. So I think it's kind of circular. And I will say too, I don't think that we all make assumptions, right? So I think what you may think and decide and do, you have to be open-minded enough to be adaptable if what you're doing, isn't working. My first year in Utah, it was pace and space, and we were going to run, and that was the way we wanted to play, and it's kind of what I thought, and like I was ready to go, and I think it was, maybe late November, we were 28th in the NBA in pace. We weren't running a lot, and I'm sitting there just going like, oh my God, I'm a failure, and I was at pace and space, and we adjusted what we did, and we became very deliberate, and we played in the half court, and that was what fit our team. We had some really good defensive bigs, and we had to work. Offense wasn't easy for us, but you know what? We were really good defensively, and we were, what's the term in football? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. We were coming at you, but we had to adjust.
You were sort of on the cutting edge, I guess, to say about the three-point barrage that we now see in the game at all levels. Was that always something you thought about, wanted to do? How did that all come about?
It's actually a fairly entertaining story. I'll give you the long version. So we were in Oklahoma City, and we were the team when COVID first popped. That was us against the Thunder. And the night before in our hotel, we were going through some of the numbers, and we were second in the league in three-point percentage. So we were a really good shooting team, but we were 12th in attempts. So we're sitting there going, why can't we figure this out? Here's something we're really good at. We should probably do it more. So then, everything shut down, and we go to Orlando for the bubble, and Bojan Bogdanovic, who arguably was our best shooter, who probably shot 5 threes a game, was out. And so but we knew what we wanted to do. And we really tried to talk to our players about we got to make up for Bogey's shots. Like, you got to take 2 more, I've got to take 2. We still had a lot of really good shooters. And what happened was a mindset shifted. It was really, as all of us know, that was a different time in a lot of ways, and not that was responsible for us shooting more threes, but we didn't have Bojan, and we started shooting more threes, and that carried over that kind of bravado. We just, for us, it was like, the only mistake you can make is not shooting it, but that fit our team, and so the reason we created a drill where we have 6 different types of three-point shots that will happen, because I believe that a lot of times when people are open, it's the hesitancy that gets you. And we tried to identify those spots so guys would know, ball's coming to me, this is the shot I want to take. And then we called the drill 19 for COVID-19. So it's a drill we still do. But I don't know if it was cutting edge as much as just looking at the math and following the numbers, and kind of like we talked about before, just knowing our personnel.
Interesting. We have head coaches here, we have assistant coaches here. Talk a little bit about, Quin, putting a staff together if you have that choice, and then when you have your staff, how you sort of divide up the responsibilities.
It's probably, for me, in the time that I've been here, it's the thing that has been the most impactful on me personally. So I think those of us that have been head coaches or assistant coaches on staffs, how like how important that staff dynamic is, and how many times that group of people, that's the group of people that you're with and around and you turn to when things are hard. So it was my number one priority coming here. I just felt like, because, you know, if you want your team to be unselfish, if you want your team to work hard, you know, we have a saying, players always know. Players know. Like when you think you're fooling a player, if you guys we are having a problem, our players know that there's an issue. And so your staff, you know, being that cohesive, and, you know, I think is incredibly important for the foundational culture of a program, because they represent that. They're the ones that are demonstrating that for your players. That said, that's not all there is. They have to be good, and they have to be talented. And I think when you find that, that you have an opportunity where your staff can like absolutely add value out here on the court, and a bottom line, the players developing, preparation, scouting, you know, all the things that a staff does together. And then I think for a head coach, make your job not just easier, but a lot more rewarding. And to the extent that you're organizing certain things on your staff, trying to give people opportunities to develop and grow, but also maximizing things that people are good at. And very similar as staff, it's a team. And but again, I think you start from the point of like high character, good people, and that are talented. And that's why I jumped in when I did. Is I could go on and on about our group.
Well, you have said to me and publicly that this is the best staff you've ever had as a head coach.
Unquestionably. And I think that, you know, I could go on. It's a group that I'm proud of.
Quin, the organization of practice, how do you weigh the different factors in terms of conditioning, offense, defense, you know, rebounding? How do you put it all together in your mind, what you want to see?
I'm smiling because this has been a topic of conversation that we've had and our coaching staff has had really since August, when we were talking about where you want to spend your time. One of the people on our staff, Brittany Donaldson, one of our coaches, she put together like the proverbial pie chart for how much time we spent on different things, and not just offense and defense, but even within that sphere, what are the things that we're working offensively. And it was telling to me where you're spending your time. And so, not that it was necessarily wrong, but it makes you focus and calls your attention. Do we want to be doing it this way? And not everybody has, you know, Brittany to do that for them, and it's a lot of work. But you get the general. You can get a general feel of where you're spending your time. I think, you know, spending time each day fundamentally developing habits is unbelievably important. That's your foundation that you can build off of. The one thing that has come to my attention, and in all this, you're just trying. That's why having good people and smart people is the way to go, because it makes me reflect and think and adapt. And one of the things we're finding now is we probably didn't play enough, compete enough. You know, that we were doing more kind of drill-oriented work, which, as I just said, is important. But I think the competitive aspect of there's things that players find out in competition that you just can't manufacture. That problem solving, different. And she has a thing, TLC, means teach, learn, and compete. So how much time you spend teaching, how much time you spend learning, which would be more kind of like 5-on-0 running, you know, teach something so you understand it, then learn it, and then compete and do it. And we've tilted more. It's hard in an NBA season because practice time is limited. You come out, you know, after a game, and you and me are together getting in at, you know, 2:30 in the morning, and then you got a game the next day. You're not going to do much on that day. You'll probably meet at the arena. You got one day off. Do the guys really want to come in? Is it worth your time? So you're always balancing how best to spend your time and feeling that and the pulse of your team. But I think I know for me going into this year, we want to compete more. We want to get more live play. And, you know, again, you're constrained. We couldn't do that last December when we were down some bodies too, because
Right.
now you're worried about someone getting hurt and whatnot. But
Right.
that practice planning to me is incredibly important. And these guys too, they know, like, even that preparation, whether it's practice, game, like we like to see, not just like today, but when one of the guys on our staff, when Sanjay's working out with Jalen, or Epe's working out with Clint or O, they're meticulous about how they plan that 10-15 minute period. That's your time. That's analogous to a head coach planning an hour and a half practice. So that to me, the preparation that goes into practice planning is probably underrated as far as how impactful it is.
Interesting. We have some mics that we'd like to go through the audience. If you have a question or want to ask something of Quin, now is your time. So just kind of raise your hand. We'll bring the mic to you so everybody can hear. There's one in the back.
Can you talk about how important it is to have a relationship with players? Something that you're doing, things you can help us out with?
It may be the most important thing and there's different types of relationships, but a relationship, if you don't have a relationship, I think it's really hard to coach. I think there's so many different personality types. Coaches are different, players are different. It's one of the things, like we talked about our staff, the relationships your staff has with players can actually help facilitate your relationships with players. But I think it's just something you have to understand is that important. And there's nothing wrong with working at a relationship. Some relationships are easier than others. That's life. But that doesn't mean the ones that are, more difficult in the sense that maybe it's harder to get to know somebody. But I think players want to be coached. There's probably 10% of guys that don't, they got it. They don't really want to hear it. I don't know what the other percentages break down. Certain guys, it may be easier. They may be, sitting there, hungry to learn and listen. And there's other guys, you got to figure it out a little bit. Maybe there's the right time, or you got to communicate with film instead of talking to him. Maybe that's not a guy you want to talk to after a game. He's emotional, But all those things you find out by having a relationship. And I think it's to me, understanding someone, trying to put yourself in their shoes. And I think fundamentally there's an element of trust that's there, and don't violate that trust. Trust is hard to develop. If you can start from the standpoint that you almost decide, hey, we're going to try to do this, and then honor it. But that's where those, and the variable levels, right? But I think to say that it's not essential is to understate it.
Next question, please. Oh, come on, you guys. I know this crowd better than that. Has got it. There we go.
Coach, you kind of had a unique hiring process that you went through, kind of like when you were ready to take over the team and everything. Can you talk about just how that process?
How stupid I was to take over a team that season. That's what everybody told me. They're like, what are you doing, Quin? Why are you doing this? It was a unique challenge. None of these guys were here yet. So there was Steve Claw, who's our new coach of the Skyhawks, was working in Italy. And I called Ettore Messina and basically said, can I borrow Steve for the rest of the season? And one of our coaches that was in Utah, that's our director of player development, was here. He wasn't on the floor. I'm kidding, but only partially kidding about that process. And that's not to say something that's difficult can be really a positive thing. But it really was a unique situation, and you're thrown into, we were sitting up here and I had a press conference before I had a practice. But I think it was an opportunity for me to kind of gather information and learn. And, it's funny, the relationships that, you didn't necessarily have when you first got there, why would you? I mean, there's respect, and everybody operated with respect. I was really lucky that the coaching staff was as high character as they were. Those guys, I relied on them, and they pulled me in. And that made it productive, and then it's interesting, over the course of the season, even though it was a shorter season, we all know this, when you kind of go through when you're in the foxhole together, those relationships form pretty quickly, so by the time we were in the playoffs, the routine, with Longo and Joe Prunty and Jamel and Nick, we're up in the hotel room watching film till 3 a.m. It was different. When I say how crazy I was, my family, I was actually going on a long travel vacation with my wife and kids, and they stayed, and I came back here. But I had plenty to keep me busy.
We have a couple in front. Yep.
Coach, it's very good to see you all start. It's not a question, but for some of you coaches that are aspiring to be an NBA coach, explain the life of an NBA coach for these coaches that might be aspiring to be an NBA coach one day. So can you explain the process for us?
Well, there's a lot of variety, a lot of volatility. I think it's one of the reasons that I have the respect that I do for coaches at every level. I've coached at a lot of those levels, whether it's the D League or in college, AAU, Europe, and I think there's more things in common with what we do on a day-to-day basis. We're spoiled as far as how we travel, where we stay, like all those things that are kind of like quasi, glamorous, so to speak. But if you don't really love coaching, like it's not something that you should do. And I think we're all challenged by that consistently. Like there's those moments where you're asking yourself, just like I responded to that question, what the hell am I doing? Is it worth it? And then you get to those other points where, it may not be a playoff game. It may be that moment you have on a court where you've been working with someone on something, and then you see them do it, and you get the gratification of like that experience, and the locker room huddle, like it's still like that team component where you're a part of something that's bigger than you are, is something that is gratifying. And so I'm telling you a lot about coaching. I got fired from the University of Missouri, and I didn't know if I wanted to coach again. Like I literally was like I won't even say I didn't know, I didn't want to. And I got to a point where there was a job open in Austin in the D League, which was very different than the G League at the time. And it was telling to me in that, travel was, you're driving 4 hours to McAllen, Texas in the Rio Grande Valley on a bus, and you're going through the floodplains in South Dakota to play the Sioux Falls Skyhawks. But what you found was that, I really like this, and there's no media in Austin, Texas for the D League basketball. So I didn't have to talk to the media, which was great. And there's no press. No one could care whether we won or lost, but you know what? We did. And that 3-year period that I spent in the D League might have been the most gratifying 3 years in my career. Like it was that impactful to me. And the things that we got to do, got to experiment, got to be creative, like those things kind of stayed with you. And I used to tell our players in the D League, like, look, everybody, none of you guys want to play for me. Like, you all want to be in the NBA. No one wants to be here. But the only way that you're going to be out of here is if you can be here. And I believed that at the time. That wasn't like that's how I felt. you know, and then I was really lucky that I got an opportunity to go to the NBA as an assistant, but I didn't, you know, some of it was probably the path that I had led up to that point. It wasn't that, I wouldn't say I wasn't ambitious, but I was really more dialed in to coaching and learning in the game, and was able to kind of, those things will take care of themselves, so to speak. And then I moved, so I went from Austin to Philadelphia to LA to Russia to Atlanta to Utah in 5 years. I moved 5 times. So that part wasn't quite so glamorous. But those opportunities were the ones that were there. And then I've been unbelievably lucky, you know, to have some, you know, I had a longer tenure at Utah. About midway through my 3rd year, my wife and I went to dinner to celebrate that we were 2.5 years in, because the average tenure of an NBA head coach was 2.3 years. So we were like, we made it. We beat that. So I feel grateful all the time to be able to do this. And it's to be able to, you know, have a career that you enjoy is something that's really unique. And I don't think, it's one of those things you stop and, you know, and appreciate. And that's how I feel.
You had a question right here in the front. Coach, I am not in the media. You gave me that
No,
look. You
you're not.
hurt my feelings.
That was for sake of the story.
Okay.
You know that. Where am I? Yeah.
As someone that's had a long, successful coaching career, what are some things you wish you would have been that you didn't feel that you did?
Some things I wish what?
What are some things that you wish you knew in the beginning?
That I knew in the beginning. That's a good, a lot, I think. Try not to repeat the same mistakes over and over again, but I probably do more than I hope. That's a great question, because I know I didn't know a lot. I think, I don't think I ever felt like I had it all figured out. You know, I don't, if anything, I was probably, you know, more insecure that, like, am I really prepared for this? And I think that helped me, like, be really hungry to learn. And I love the game. I love, you know, all of the aspects, tactically, strategic, like all the things that go into it. I think it's a beautiful game, and it's so complex. And this is something I'm like, one of those things I'm still learning too. And that sometimes for me, understanding that, I actually have it written on my wall in there, that simplicity is the greatest form of complexity. That, you know, I personally can get too deep down the rabbit hole in trying to figure something out and analyze it and have it be just perfect, and realize, like, you know what, I'm not helping my play. It may be fun, it may be like a cool, like, exercise, you know, but it's not a crossword puzzle, you know. And these are players, and sometimes less is more, and these guys help me with that. I still do that, because that's kind of that's how I'm wired. But I've learned, I think, you know, to not try to do everything. That we have to make choices, and you know, there are things to prioritize, because if you try to do too much, you end up, you know, with a team that's either, one, paralyzed, you know, they don't know what to do, or you're just okay at a lot of stuff instead of really having an identity. I think, you know, the thing that I'm hopeful of here, and we're not there yet, and I don't think you maybe ever are fully arrived, is I think the intriguing thing to me about coming here was the opportunity to build something. That's more interesting to me, more rewarding than winning a ring. And I've asked myself that consistently, am I just kind of bullshit myself, or is this really? And I think, you know, that moment, I'm not saying I don't want to win a championship, but I do think that building process is the part of this, whether it's building a team, helping a player build this game, like building a program. And that, to me, fundamental to that is you have to have an identity. And I think as I've gone on in my career, I've realized that even more. The importance of having a team and a program, having an identity. Like, I get a little frustrated, annoyed. We can talk about a lot of things. I think the opportunity we have as coaches and teams is like people know you by what you do. And we can say we want to have a culture and we want to be unselfish and we want to, that's great. Like, I'm not saying we don't want to say it, but there's nothing on these walls until we live some stuff, and then we'll put it on the wall. And I feel strongly about that. And I didn't understand that completely. I still don't understand it completely, but that's like visceral to me. That's I want our program to have an identity, and that's established over time. And it's also the sum total of a lot of decisions, a lot of little decisions. A lot of things that may not seem like they matter, but collectively, you don't get them all right. But if they can all head the same direction, then you get to a point where, I think you can feel good about who you are and what you're doing. You won't be perfect, you'll still lose games, but that's something that, for me, that resonates.
One more?
Now we would have a different practice regimen for the C players. They're more fundamentals, they're more footwork compared to the B players. And then the A players are more about team practices, like what they're going to do. So coach, if you were, let's say, to retire.
You retiring me? Are you firing me or just retiring me? Okay. You can fire me if you want. I'm good with either one. Just not yet.
And then you would coach our local high school. So
Okay.
how would you approach to raise the level of the B players to the A players, and then the C players to the B players? Because we tried different stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes the A players, they go down to the B level. So I just want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a complex question. Because I heard players' parents and players and attitudes, and then at the end, I think you're talking more about like skill level. Let me just say this, the best teams aren't always the best 5 players, depending on how you define that. Like a team is such a unique thing. It requires sacrifice, it requires roles. There may be something that Bob wants to do that I want to do, and he has to sacrifice and do something maybe that he doesn't want to do as much. And so that dynamic is always there as far as a group working together. With respect to players improving and your C's to B's to A's, right? I think that if a player's going from an A to a B, it's probably something that's less related to a skill. If a player's a good shooter and you're labeling them an A shooter, maybe they'll have a slump, but they're probably still an A shooter. They're just not shooting well. They're not a B shooter. They've made that jump. Now, if that same player who's an A shooter starts taking horrible shots, that's different. So that player, even though he can shoot, may not be as effective a shooter because they're not taking good shots. So it's, I don't know how much I'm helping you with that, but I do think that developing players, one of the biggest things to me about that is believing in the player. To give them, that's not to say you can't coach them, but that I think, level of belief and optimism and positivity, coupled with the coaching or the criticism, is really important for guys to develop. And the last thing I'll say, I think, like, the most talented players, like, you may have a player that's a C and they can get to an A in like a year. There's some players that'll work their tails off that it's going to take them 2 or 3 years to get there. Like, to me, the most talented players are able to learn and adapt really quickly. And there's things you can see them do that they pick up very quickly that give you a little window into that. You hear stories about, he didn't start playing until he was 13, and then you're looking at him when he's 15. It's like, wow, he got better pretty quick. That's probably pretty talented. So if you can find those guys, you're in good shape. And if they have parents that don't yell at you, even better.
Awesome.
I think that happens at every level. It's always something.
We'll end it on this one. As I was sitting here listening, the coaching community is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, for the coaches that are here, their sake, as you were developing as a coach, what would you say, if anything pops into your head, like quickly, like the best investment that you made along the way to becoming a coach? Anything come to mind?
Running stations at the Duke basketball summer camp on the outdoor courts in the blacktop in 95-degree weather. But running a station, it could have been inside, it could have been anywhere. I think to put a group together, and sometimes, especially like if the players are 12, if you can handle that and you can get them organized and you can teach them, and then the next group comes, and then at 3:30 after lunch in the games, you do it again, and like you've got your progression, whatever it is you're working on, and you've got that next step, and then the next day starts at 9, and you prepare. You don't just show up, like, no matter how late you're staying out. You get there, you get ready, kids come down, and they rotate through 6 stations, and to be able to hold their attention, which isn't always easy, to have people be engaged, and in a 12-minute period, or however long your station is, to be able to make that efficient and productive, like, I think that's a skill set. And I think it's not one that you just, like, you got to work at it.
Wow. Great stuff. Quin, that was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, coaches. That was great.
Really appreciate it.
Are we good? Peace, 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 y'all. This is a pick and roll defensive. I don't talk as loud, so y'all just got to rock out with me. We are a channel-based team, which is keeping the ball on the side. Some of y'all may call ice, blue, down, any of those things. So the first point we're going to make are our pickup points. So just imagine there's another guy in the corner, guy or girl, and the ball is coming up the court. We want to make sure we meet the ball handler outside of the underline, which is like the brown line outside of the three-point line, which might be the 4-point line pretty soon. And we want to make that player uncomfortable. So in our channel defense, this is our base defense. This is our free safety. This is our cornerback. And if I'm the defender on the strong side, I'm the strong safety. Everybody on defense, we want them to eat space, right? No matter where you are, him being here as well, we want it to look crowded, right? So as we go into the screen, as we go into the pick and roll walk, the big is going to call channel. We want to say it 3 times loud so everybody on the court understands what we're doing. When he calls channel, who is setting the screen? You are. It's important for the defender on the ball to get into her defender. Right here on the hip, no rejects. It's very important, no rejects. For the big, right now we're going to cover channel 3, which is up to touch. We'll cover channel 2 next. As he's coming up here, channel, he gets up, step up, and we're going to force her down. So get into the ball. So here, I got you. Let me just show. So now we're at the point of the screen. Here. As the ball is coming over, free safety, depending on your personnel, but the free safety has to be pulled in and above the charge line. Right? Hold on 1 second. So as she comes off, I'm at channel, I'm here. I want to be active. The player defending the ball, when she comes off of this pick and roll, we want to have our inside hand down to discourage the pocket pass. And then we also want to have active hands with our bigs, right, to make this pass hard. And we want to be able to force that pass, the long pass. So make that pass? Yeah. So on this side, when she makes that pass, it's an automatic X out. So you stay here, BG roll. Automatic X out. Your positioning, we've taught it this way here. So as you see, and as the ball flies over, you call X, close out with a stick hand high, forcing them baseline. And then we'll X out, all right? Let's walk through that. If anybody has a question and wants to come on the court, just step on here and then come on the court. Let's get active. Yep. Good, good. Good. You gonna get a bucket? Good. So with this, teams now are starting to pull behind, right? This offensive player is usually going to pull behind here, which makes the closeout long closeout. So we'll do the same thing, and you'll stay with your own. Okay. All right? So when you come off, you'll pass it up top. Yep. And you'll pull behind to the top. Yep. Back up a little bit. So now let's go back to the top. Another way we've kind of changed it up a little bit is if the ball does hit the short roll. So you go up, call channel. Channel. Roll slow. You pull in. Now you come off, roll, BG, roll, keep rolling. So in the channel, we gotta make sure we stay with the ball, right? And we want to force our guards to communicate, getting back in front and calling out. So now keep coming down. Hit the short roll. You're still here. Stay there. On this pass, he's coming up and you're sinking, right? As he sinks and he makes this pass out, slow down, come back here. You're behind, as if you're playing defense behind. No. Bam. On this pass out here, we want you to peel off and go to the high quadrant. Yes. And then we'll bounce back and you'll come out. Let's do that one more time, walk through. Please. Walk through it. Hit the short roll. Short roll, bump out. Come back here. He can't catch like that. So channel. Bounce out, peel out. Good. One more time, please. Epe. Yes, ma'am. Good. Thank you. Now, it would be the same if, let's say, the corner man cut, it would still be the cornerback's responsibility. And we rotate out of that, right? Now we'll talk about channel 2. Usually you have a shot blocker who can kind of play 2. And with that being said, the free safety doesn't have to pull all the way in. They can straddle this line and play with the defender and allow the big to play too, right? And if they make the skip, we get back to our own. We don't want to give up threes when we're in channel 2. So walk up, I'll be the defender. Channel, channel, channel. Just good like that. Arms distance, and I'm staying either or. Either or. And I'm staying below the big, and I'm in front. So go back. Channel, 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 slow. I'm active. Yep, hit. I'm in front, everybody gets back to their own, right? Now, if the ball is to get deeper and we're here, we got our teacher, our bigs, step outside that charge line, take a charge, or go verticality. What's up?
So channel 2 is for more slow-footed bigs that are more shot blockers?
I mean, I wasn't slow-footed and I was elite at channel 2. But yeah, you can say that. But you want to challenge. Say it again?
Is that like more drop coverage?
More of a drop coverage, yes, sir. Oh. Can we walk through that, please? Oh, my fault. Good. So on this, you stay with your own. Now you good. Now, so now go off and then try to skip it. Make the skip. Yes, please. Good, good, good. We can stop, we can stop. Now, because we're a channel team, when we move the pick and roll to the top of the key, can you go to the top of the key? Yeah. You go, it doesn't matter, either or. You go this side. Because we're a channel team, at the high pick and roll, we just want to honor the guard's feet. And we can't be all the way up, so we're automatically in a channel 2, right? Because as we know, offensive players are really good at flipping the screen, so we want to allow the big time to get to the other side, right? And in this, it's still the same. Now you're playing 2, so we don't want to give up threes. So you go up and set however, and you just say channel. And then you honor her feet, but you're not all the way up to touch. You about right here, and you just playing 2. And on this, since you're the strong side, we want to ease space up and just show. All right. Yep. All right, walk through. Up to you. Ooh, my fault. Good.
So changing this based on possession, based on ball handler?
Say it. What do you mean?
Channel call, is it based on the ball handler or is it based on the possession?
It's just based on keeping it down on either side.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Well, I guess
I just want to
like,
make sure.
All of a sudden it's a screen for him. Do we have a different channel call or is it all based on the possession?
So a 5-man.
Okay.
So
He's making the call.
yeah.
Okay.
So usually, thank you. Usually with our defense, the 5-man is the only person in channel. Usually it's 1 through 4 black, and the 5 black being switched, and the 5-man's in the channel. Is that good? Yeah. Yes, sir. Can we walk through that again? That's good. That's good. Whew. And it's over with. Do y'all have any questions that we can go through with any different spacings?
I teach my bigs to retreat right there, coming off the kick, but I think on the first set that you showed us, he was actually going all the way out and stopping the ball.
Yes, sir.
What do you call that? That's
Channel
not
3.
That's channel 3.
Yes, sir. That's just being all the way up to touch. Yes, sir.
And the retreat is what?
Channel 2. Or, I mean, there's a channel 1. If y'all watch Milwaukee, Brook Lopez, he'll just stand underneath the rim and just force you to the rim. And he'll just make the point guard make that decision. And you know, your teammates are gonna get mad if you're taking every shot. So it's forcing you to make a decision every time. Yes, sir. Any other questions?
When you started out with the first set,
Yes, ma'am.
skip, and you said drive baseline.
Yes.
What happens if they don't go baseline? Like, how does everyone else react to that? Is it just everyone remains
If he goes middle, we don't want him to go middle. Yeah, like if they do, then it's just rotate. You just figure it out at that point, right? All right, cool. So I got. Because if it's a channel 2, yeah, you getting out. If it's a channel 3, then you're Xing out. Right? Cool. Now, let me just do this last thing. You had a ball here, go corner. So this last piece will be like shot clock gets at like 7 and under, and we usually want to black out or midnight, which is switch everything. So as the big or any guard, let me guard you. When we're going into this switch, we want to be physical with our man, right? To force them to get into the screen and then allow our player to get underneath to hold them up, which then will allow for somebody to bump out on the weak side. So as he's coming up, I want to be physical here. Go up, bro. Call left, 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 which is direction. Force him into this screen, which allows you, black, allows you to get under. Where are you? You trying to get a bucket? Go again. Yep, come back. Left, 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 black, 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 black. And I want to get out and I want to shock the ball. And then let the shot clock come down and you guard your man or woman. We good on that one? Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What if it's like more for as far as female basketball? Like I was in high school. Would you recommend that, especially if they're probably not as fast?
With channel?
Yeah.
Yes, but probably more so a channel 2.
Okay.
Keep her down a little bit. Or, challenge her. Why not? Challenge her to get up to the point of the screen and then have your rotation set. Okay, I thought you had some.
I guess for channel 3, that's not a hedge, right?
Not a hedge. No, sir. It's just at the point of the screen. Yes, sir. Well, appreciate y'all for giving us y'all's time. Thank y'all very much. All right, man.
I was a coach in Europe, and what we noticed was that a lot of guards, bigs, just like guards especially, were not comfortable making reads in pick and roll. And we felt like, we go up and down, we scrimmage for 10, 15 minutes. I might get 2 pick and rolls. She might get 1 pick and roll. He might get 0 pick and rolls. So we kind of created this kind of drill where it was just making deliberate reads off pick and roll, right? So as we start, it'll just start a 2-on-2, right? So we'll have a ball handler and a defender up here, and then we'll have a big and a defender down here, right? Everybody else will be off. So the things that we like to emphasize, first of all, with the ball handler, I'll take it, you go down there, right? Is always test and reject. I know the pick and roll is coming this way. Just to set my angle up even better, I'm always gonna try and get downhill this way. First, it's gonna help this angle so I can come shoulder to shoulder better. Second, I know if I reject him, his coach is gonna be yelling at him from the sideline, don't get rejected. So it's a twofold where I'm trying to get in the other team's head, and I'm also trying to set this pick and roll up, right? So I'm always gonna try and test the reject, right? Now as the screen is coming, I'm able to get shoulder to shoulder, right? So I'm coming off, I'm tight. Second thing, as a ball handler, I'm trying to engage the big at all times. Say he's in a drop, I want to make it hard on him to make a decision, right? So I'm going to attack downhill, and I'm going to create width, right? So I'm trying to create as much distance between me and the big as possible. So now he has to make a decision. Is he's going to be in no man's land? Is he going to stay with me, or is he going to give this pocket up, right? With the big, you can handle, right? Same kind of concept. It's creating separation and screening angles. So I'm down here, I know the play is for me to sprint up into a pick and roll. I'm gonna be deceptive, I'm not even looking up there, right? And I'm gonna be physical down here. So I'm gonna hit him, and I'm gonna try and create this space. And now I'm gonna sprint to the screen, right? He's gonna set it up. Second thing is, I want him to get downhill. So I'm not coming up here, start keeping in the middle. I'm not gonna set the screen here because where my feet are set, I'm sending him to the sideline. So as I'm coming up, boom, I wanna get underneath, I wanna get wide, and I wanna send him downhill. I wanna get a crack. I'm trying to get a crack on him. I know they're playing in the drop, so I'm trying to free him up to be one-on-one with the big here. As soon as he passes me and I know he's cracked, I'm wide rolling. So he's creating width, I'm creating width here. Now this space is a big space for one guy to cover, right? The third thing is put pressure on the rim. So as I'm rolling, I'm going downhill, I'm looking, I'm pointing up, and I'm trying to be aggressive, and I'm forcing the help defenders to make a decision, right? And we would just do this. We'll have a line down here, and we'll have a line up there with guards, and we'll just go. You can go for time, you can go for a certain number of makes, and now it's just on the guard to make the decision. We use coaches as the defenders just because we can make it a little bit deliberate. This is just like making easy reads for them, right? So if he's coming up right here and I'm guarding, you're going to set. As he comes off, there's two things I'm gonna do. As he comes up, I'm gonna be really over and trying to take this away and making his pocket pass very evident, or if he's coming off, I'm gonna try and stay with the big as much as possible and force him to be aggressive and try and score. So you could do it live, but we like to do it with coaches because we know exactly what we're trying to work on and we can be deliberate. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Coming off that screen, would you tell the guard to kind of like reset and kind of ISO in that situation? Just a guard on big?
On a guard on big? No.
Like if he came around,
Yeah.
but there was someone in the way over there,
Yeah.
would you tell the guard to kind of back it up?
Yeah, no, if this guy does a good job, but also we know a lot of coaches we teach don't help off strong side corner. So I kind of know that he's not gonna be able to, he's not just gonna fully commit to me, because if he does, that's just an easy kick to the corner. So we know that as a coach, you're teaching, don't help off strong side corner. So now, as he comes off, right, you're creating width. You're not coming out completely wide, but you're just trying to not be super tight to the pick and roll to create that space, right? So yeah, so that's one thing. Second thing is, when we do this drill, I'm the one that's usually guarding the ball handler, right? So for me, I know our players, and I know, okay, he struggles with ball pressure. So I'm gonna be really in his body and force him to work on dealing with pressure and setting the screen up and still getting a crack. I know that he struggles with space. He doesn't like to have space. He likes to feel that contact. I'm gonna space off him. I can go under, right? I can go over. There's different things that you can do depending on the scout, pretty much. Like, you know who you're about to play. You can adjust this drill to whatever you want. You can go under, rescreen, you can hedge, and everything is just relative to like what you really need to work on, right? So that's the first progression. We'll go through that for like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, to however we feel. Second thing is, we'll add a player in the corner and a defender here, right? You can just guard here. I'll be you for a second. You can go corner, yeah. So now, same thing. We just added a player in the corner, right? So stop. So now this coach's job is, again, very deliberate. I'm either gonna pull in all the way to make it clear that the read is a skip to the corner, or I'm gonna stay home, right? I'm gonna stay home. They're gonna create the width, and he's gonna make this pocket, right? So now he either scores, or if he hits the pocket and now I pull in late, now we're getting the bigs working on making these reads, right? And again, this is just like reps. I played before for 8 years overseas. I've also coached guys who were like lower level players, and I realized that this drill really helps guys just be able to see reads, because this is not, it's not an easy read, right? Going full speed, like hands and bodies in the way, like, so the more reps you can get at just actually just making this pass, it just, you can see the growth when the games start to happen, right? So we'll go through that. And now it's just, the coaches are just making reads. So, right? If I stay home, boom, pocket, you go finish, next three go. Go again. Right, I'm here, boom, I'm in early. I know that skip is there, get a shot, right? The third one, boom, I stay, pocket, I'm late, boom, he makes the read. And now it's just up to the coach to see, all right, who's up there? He struggles at catching this in the pocket and making that pass, so I'm gonna pull in late and force him to do that. I know that he struggles making that skip pass, so I'm gonna get in early just so I know that he's gonna make that pass. So it's kind of just knowing your team knowing your personnel, knowing what guys need to work on. So like the coaches in this and who's guarding are very important. Like they understand exactly what you need. The next progression is just adding a fourth. So Larry, you don't have to, you can guard the corner here, yeah. And I'll guard here. Nobody's on the ball handler. Now, same thing, we're sprinting to the screen. On this one, we want this guy to be pulled in early. So he's in early, so we know now as he's coming off, now it's on me. The read is me. So the read is, if I drop low and I take this corner away early, boom, we're making that skip. I close out, we can swing. If it goes back to the top, right, pulls in, boom. I stay high, boom. You're throwing it to the corner, right? So again, the coaches really are the ones who are gonna make the drill and get guys to work on what they need to work on, right? You can also do this, let's say you run double away, right? You can do this out of that too. So we can have somebody in the corner, you can guard me, right? We can just take away the first screener here, right? And then you guys can go in the corner over there. Actually, you can guard him, right? And then we can just have a defender here, a defender will be there. So now, he's coming off, touch it back to him. Boom. Hit, turn this in, and now you go, you follow him. Now we have the same action. So now let's just say ball handler's there, we have here, and now you're still guarding her, yeah, right? And now we're playing here. So we're just getting into the action in a different way. You can even throw some sets in there that you like. If you have an out series where guard comes out and he gets the ball here and there's a side pick and roll, you can do it out of this, and it's just like really slow, it's really deliberate, it's just giving these guys a chance to really make these reads, right? A concept that we do use, also I want to just introduce to you guys, is a side pick and roll. We call this a slide. If we know a team is in a drop, right? They're in a drop, we're playing side pick and roll, they're sending it to the middle. You can go up here. You're just gonna slide to the corner. You can guard me. You can guard me. Let's say, whatever, there's a big up there, he's in a drop. The slide concept usually opens up a lot of things. As this ball is coming off, freeze. As soon as he gets shoulder to shoulder with that big, I'm cutting out. He's still rolling. Now this puts the onus on this defender now. Is he gonna stay with me, or is he gonna stay here, right? What we notice is this cut, you're probably not gonna get this cut. This is a selfless cut. You gotta kind of convince guys to make this cut because they're probably not gonna get the ball, right? But this opens up a driving lane here, right? If he stays with me, you might get a late look right here, but more often than not, he's gonna stay, and this guy will help now, right? So as she slides to the corner, you come with me, right? Now it's on Larry. What is he gonna do? If he comes in and helps, that's just wide open. We got a lot of corner threes out of this action right here, and we got a lot of open layups, right? Also on the step up, you could do it. So let's go on a step up in the slot. Right, so we could be up here. Now on the step up, yeah, you set it, hit the pocket. So now it's the same thing, off this step up, right? He rolls, hit the pocket, hit him in the pocket, yeah. As soon as he gets the ball in the pocket, boom, I'm sliding. She's sliding to the corner. This also messes up a lot of teams. This is a little concept you can throw into your offense. It'll make pick and roll a lot easier. It can really mess some teams up if you guys try that. I mean, for me, it's just reps. It's just like, even in my player development stuff, I'll have guys coming off and just making his pocket pass, making his skip pass, just because I feel it's important just to get the reps to actually making these decisions, because you don't really get them like that in a game. And you'll see if you start doing stuff like this, just being deliberate with it, the sky's the limit, you'll see the growth, all right? Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Action before this is where you did like the little touch.
Yeah.
Could you run that through that again?
Yeah, sure. We call it away. It's just a double stagger, right? So, guy in the corner, you can go. We can just go on offense. So you can set a screen right here. We don't need defense. You can go in the corner. Yeah, you can go in the corner here. Right, so double away. First things first is this is live. So as he's coming off of this, he's looking to shoot or he's looking to get downhill and score off of this, right? If he doesn't, I'll be just set the second screen. So I'm coming off. I'm looking to shoot this. If he's late, if he goes under, I'll stop short, I'll shoot it. If he's trailing me, I'm looking to get downhill. If I get stopped, he gets back in front, we call this a touchback, right? So I'm just gonna touch it back, right? First screener is gonna pop to the corner. and I'm gonna fade here, and now it's just into a step-up pick and roll. So with some misdirection, you'll see sometimes guys get confused on the touchback. You might be able to take it and go. You might be able to keep it, and now he takes it. So there's a little variation, and we have a lot of other things we can do out of that as well. We just call that away. Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
Like, talk about you guys, so like for Trey, like you guys get ready to play Indiana for like the preseason.
Right.
Like, or get ready. Do you like break down film and then you guys come in here and go over it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, especially as coaches, we're gonna be going through the scout.
the players, you go over
Yeah, we'll go through it as coaches. We'll go through it with the players, and then if a team, like let's say a team is hedging, when we do this, it'll be a hedge every single time. So on the hedge, let's say go over that way. Let's come over here, Larry. Top, you can go corner here. Yeah. If he's setting the screen, I know on the hedge, he's probably not gonna be able to get downhill. There's gonna be a few times where he's gonna be able to beat it around, but you can stand on the wing here. If I'm hedging, the read is pocket or advance, right? So again, hit it back here. Boom, I'm hedging, advance, and now you can look to the roller. So if we know that a team is playing a certain type of coverage, we'll just like adjust the drill to whatever they're doing, and it just gives them reps and makes them comfortable before we actually go out there and play, all right? Anything else? Are you good? Yeah, so again, pick and roll, I mean, the game is a lot of pick and roll now, right? Everybody's playing the pick and roll, so.
Plug and play with your team and your personnel. So should we mix that in? Like, say we do a couple minutes hedging, say we do a couple minutes going under the screen.
Right, yeah, right, right. And then,
I was having trouble getting him to, I guess, read how to guard the screen. Like, do you go over? Do you go? I was having hard.
right.
So that would help with this.
Yeah, that will help. You can get the players out there and guard them, and you can guard it with your own players. You go 4-on-4, you go 5-on-5, and it's just being deliberate at what you want them to do, right? Like if we know a team's going under, everything will be an under up here. And what are we doing now that under? We're rescreening, so it will just be repping that concept over and over again, right? And we also, this is what we do first thing. We'll warm up, the strength and conditioning coach will take them to a dynamic, and then we'll just get straight into this. So it's kind of not going full speed, it's kind of slowed down, it's kind of just makes it easy for everybody just to make these reads.
So for a lower skilled team,
Yeah.
do you think it's more beneficial to do more drill work or more like live?
I think it's like coach was saying, like teach, learn, and compete. I think starting with this, we do this, and so it gets everybody comfortable, and now later in the practice, we'll go live. We can even go live out of this exact same action, right? Exact same setup, but it's just giving them reps early because it's not an easy read, right? It's not something easy to do, like, so that's how we figure it. Anything else, anybody? All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces. Thanks for coming out. Good, how are you? Good, how are you? So I'm going to talk about our flow offense. And by flow offense, it's what we run when the other team scores a basketball. And so if you think about a breakdown of an NBA game, there's roughly 50% of the game when we're just playing basketball. We just say we're just hooping. That's after anytime we get a rebound, anytime the other team turns the ball over, we're running. We're not running a play. We're just running lanes in transition, and we're trying to find advantages. Then there's 20% of the game. 20% of the game is roughly ATOs, dead ball situations. We're running plays. Like we know where the ball is going. Everyone has a job or responsibility. And so this leaves 30% of the game. Within this 30% of the game is when we try to run flow. And when we have this 30% of the game, it's like a pocket, it's like a window within the game when we feel like we can dictate how we play and like the way in which we play. And we try to use it at the time to connect our team. And even if it's something as simple as making sure the ball gets to the other side of the floor. You know, we call it front side versus backside actions. Say the ball is coming up the left side of the floor, a backside action would be anything that is involving people on the right side of the floor. We call it the downside and the upside. So I want to talk about our flow spacing. We call it a handler. Anytime say we're running in flow this direction. Anytime our handler has the ball, we call him the quarterback. The most important person in the flow is, we call him the link. It's our center. Every time after a score, our 5 is never inbounding the ball. We want our fives to get to the link spot. And we call it the link because they're connected team. A lot of teams run this spacing. They have different players in these positions, and they have different names. I'm pretty sure in Miami they call Bam the trigger man. As soon as Bam gets it, he's making quick reads, quick decisions. And it's a lot of responsibility for them. Like, they can dictate a lot of things within the offense, and it's as we have to do, like, we try to emphasize variety and pace, and it's a lot of responsibility on the five to make that happen. So the five is never inbounding the ball. Anyone else, 1 through 4, is allowed to inbound the ball. We try to be interchangeable, and that's where the variety comes in. So say the quarterback's pushing the ball up the floor. I want to show you a couple options with the five spaced. We would call this chess pick and roll. The quarterback has the ball, we're going to walk through it, and then we'll go through some with a little pace. Ball is going to the trail. 1 second. When the ball is in the air, the link has a responsibility, and it's their job to make a quick decision. They're allowed to go for a wide pin down in the corner, or they can go set a mid pick and roll. But on the flight, when the ball is in the air, they're making that read, so we're playing with pace. So right now we're going to walk through the chest option. It's just mid pick. On the flight of the ball, the link decides to go set a mid pick and roll. A mid pick and roll happens, and the big is rolling. We're trying to turn the corner, big's rolling. We're looking for high passes. We would have a fifth person here in the corner. If someone wants to pull over on the lob, you have the high pass to the corner. You could have a swing for a catch and shoot 3. The emphasis with the people on the top, the quarterback in this situation, when that pick and roll happens, is a circle behind. We put heavy emphasis on this position because you're able to get a catch and shoot, or if the small takes a bad angle, you're able to run through the catch, and by this time the big's already spaced. I'm either on the rim or I have a high pass myself. We'll walk through the chest with a little pace. This is float chest. That's it. We will call that a going catch. Read before the catch. RBC, read before the catch. Some people call it a face cut, running through the ball. A lot of teams have different terms. So now we're going to run a point action. It's out of the exact same spacing. We want it, and it's good that everything looks the same because we have a lot of variations out of it, and it's hard to defend. It's more. What's up? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, they could exchange. They could stay corner. If it's a shoot, his question is if the person stays in the corner. It depends on personnel. If that's a shooter, I would keep him in the corner. Say that because the pick and roll happens, it would make the decision of taking the lob away or pulling in from the backside a little more difficult. They could exchange. You know, maybe we call it a jack screen. They could pin down and send the guard to the corner. You know, we let them play basketball. And a lot of what we do is we try to give our guys the foundation of how to play. And then we let them show us things and be creative out of it. Because if we play out of concepts, a lot of the times they show us what works. You know, and certain things work with certain teams that don't work with others. And so we try to just have a feel for our team. Certain guys, certain lineups are really good at certain actions. They tell you they like certain actions. And so, I mean, we listen to our team too. And so we try to be the most effective out of everything. And we're going to run point action now. Point. We'll walk through it. So on the flight of the air, when the ball's in the air, now the big's deciding to go set a wide pin down. Say he has a shooter in the corner. Boom, wide pin down. I can turn the corner. If he goes under the screen, I'm popping back and I got a spot 3. I can also touch it back. And we're following for a pick and roll, getting pressure on the rim, and we get a circle behind. We'll walk through that with some pace. The link. They connectors. Yeah. Yes, sir. We will call this point to touch. Point to touch. Wide pin down. Touch it back. That's it. That'd be a go and catch. She said she got to warm up. We're trying to get her to shoot a 3. That's what a going catch looks like, running through the catch. So now a lot of teams are running this spacing. You've seen it around the NBA. A lot of teams are running split action. I would say that's a concept. A lot of teams it's hard to defend. Like if you played us, you wouldn't say you're guarding certain guys in certain positions because it could be anybody. You may just work on guarding defending the concept of guarding split action.
So this offense is more for like a playmaking big, kind of like a Jokic.
Yeah, if you have a playmaking big, a big that can make quick reads, can pass, it's great for them. Yeah. And let's run a split action. And there's one teaching point about the split action. The quarterback pushing the ball up the sideline, they want to keep the ball up pretty high. Because as soon as the split action happens, we want them to get downhill on the splits, and we try to keep our advantage as much as possible. Because every time we play the split action, that guard's flying off, regardless if they're getting the ball or not. So we're going to walk through it, and then we'll go through it with some pace, and you'll feel it. Elbow splits. We walk through it, split action. Stay high, stay high. Split action happens, flying off. Yeah, drill it, yep, rolling. Circle behind. Run that one with some pace. We don't teach to help off the strong corner, but that would be a catch and shoot 3. So now I want to teach you, we have chest, we have point, that was elbow splits. Now we have blast action. So keep in mind we have someone in this corner, we only have 4-on-4, and you have a really good player in the opposite corner. Sometimes you want to get them involved, and you want them to feel part of it. So we run blast action, blast, we'll walk through it. The ball is going to the link. The split action is still occurring. Say we've been doing a great job. We've been getting good stuff out of splits, good stuff out of chest. The backside is worried about guarding pick and roll. Now the big sees it, doesn't like it, and he wants to go play with the corner. We call it blast. A DH, I'll be you. Elbow splits happens, we're running with pace. Yeah. That's blast. There's a couple other actions I would like to show you. Does anyone have any questions? What's up?
Can you describe what happened in blast?
Yeah. She wanted, so the point of running blast, the reason why we run blast is because there's so much emphasis and so much attention on the corner splits or on the high splits that sometimes the link doesn't see anything. They can make a decision for a backdoor pass, DHO, but sometimes they want to turn and get the corner involved. So that's when they would pivot out and go play with the corner. And that's a good way to get a high pass, pressure on the rim, and keep in mind that you could have a shooter in this corner. It could create another advantage.
So the blast is for your 5?
The blast is for the guy in the corner. We'll run it one more time. Hey, run blast. Which one? Oh, the splits? Yeah, I got you. This is blast. The split still happens? Yeah. That's blast. Yeah, I made it. Hey, we'll do the splits. We'll do the splits action. Splits. This is splits right here. Hey, splits. Yeah, right into it. Rolling. That's the splits. A question that I've gotten from other baskets, a lot of 5s are programmed to run down the middle of the floor. It took some time to transition and have our 5 space. Say it happens, it's not the end of the world if your center runs down the middle of the floor, but there are options that you can do out of it. Say our center's down the middle. We're running point action. You want a 3? You want a 3?
I'm on defense.
So we would call this still point action. The guard would recognize that the big's in the middle of the floor, and he would point at the big to go set a high, wide pin down for our player in the high quad. This can happen in the flow of transition. It's possible, or it could say, oh, you recognize the center's in the wrong position, they're in the middle. You just be like, hey, go get the small. And it could be, say you have a shooter up here in the high quad. Quarterback recognizes it, he points, a high, wide pin down. Stop here, yeah. Option 1 is a catch and shoot 3, that's ideal. So you can also have pressure on the rim, the big would roll. Another option, she could touch it back to the quarterback. She could come off it, doesn't like it, touch back to the guard. Yeah, you said it. Yep, rolling, circle behind. She's gonna get a catch and shoot 3 on the circle behind. Let's run it with some pace. Run it with some pace, we're gonna get a catch and shoot 3. You got a circle behind. Oh, that's a good shot though. Are there any questions? I have one other option. A lot of people run 90, we call it 99, pick, it's double drag. This is a way that you can get to double drag out of the same flow spacing. So we'll have our 5 back in the link spot. Let's have our 5 in the link spot. Let's get to the 99. She's gonna get another opportunity to shoot a 3. The 99, the trail is gonna go set a small pin down for the 5, for the link. And the link is gonna go into a pick and roll with the quarterback. And this specific option, you'll see it when she does it, the small is gonna fold under. A lot of teams run Spain pick and roll. This is basically Spain pick and roll on the sideline. It's one of my favorite actions. And it's a way that in years past, I've seen a lot of teams get 3s from it. We'll go 99. Set the wide pin down on the link. And she's folding under. Fold under, big's rolling, and it creates a lot of indecision. A lot of teams will run, I thought she shot it. A lot of teams will run some screening actions, and some teams will, our term for switch is black. Teams will black on or off ball. So some teams stay with their own. That's an action that creates a lot of indecision, and we can still get pressure on the rim. We can get someone to turn the corner.
What if it's your 4 that's more creative? Like, where would you put your 5? Like in the transition, what would you put them in?
Oh, where we put our 5 in transition?
Yeah, like the 4 is more creative. Like,
oh, yeah. Her question is, what if your 4 is more creative? What if your 4 is more creative than your 5? We'd probably play a smaller lineup. I mean, we would find ways in pockets within the game to play our 4 at the link spot. And we would be able to, if you're able to play with quick DHOs, because a lot of 4s, you know, are good passers. They may be a better playmaker. You can find a pocket to play them in the link spot. And it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if you have a 5 that spaces in the corner. It can be the same concepts. If the 5's in the corner, they can play DHO out of the corner.
Would you strictly run this if they're in man, or could you do this in
We would do this against man. Man. That's all I got.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Regis Onkamuche. This is the Absolute Station. So Absolutes is our core principles that we believe in, all right, defensively, all right? These are our habits. These are something that we do each and every possessions that we know that we can control, right? That we know that we can do. These are our core habits. So our first thing, we can't really walk through right now because we have half court. Our first thing is transition defense. And our transition defense is simple. He has the ball. Connor's over there in his high quad right now with no ball. It's simple. Transition defense is simple. 2 things. Is no purgatory. No purgatory is what we like to do in transition. So no purgatory meaning that Connor only has 2 options. On that shot of the ball, he shoots that shot. Go ahead and shoot your shot. You say you're a shooter? Yeah. On that shot on the ball, Connor can only crash or get back. It's those 2 things. There's no floating on that shot again. There's no standing there waiting for the rebound. There's none of that. You're either crashing or you're getting back. That is our first absolute. That is very, very important because it dictates our other absolutes, right? Our second absolute is contain. And what contain is we have presence on the ball. Contain is presence on the ball and shifts. So now, presence on the ball meaning 1,
we have our pickup points. Our pickup points, we like to call them pups. Pickup points are pups. So first, we have our stick hand when we close out. Then we have our pickup points, and now we're mirroring the ball, and we're active. We're ready to guard. We're ready to guard. No middle stands. Being ready for rounded drives. Being ready for rounded drives. Always ready. That's our second absolutes. Contain. Presence on the ball and shifts. Third, again, we talked about it right now. No middle, no paint. So as he's going and I'm closing out, I want to make sure there's no middle. I don't want to give him middle. I want to give him our baseline. Reason because, we'll talk about this now, which is our next absolute, which is cycle. We have our fire, sink, fill. But I'll talk about that later. So one, even if he gets baseline, even if he gets middle, I still don't want to give him a straight line drive. I want to make it a rounded drive. I want to make a rounded drive, being so that I know I have shifts there, and I know that one, I have shifts and I have help accordingly. So we never want to make it a straight line drive, even if we get beat middle. Everything, even if we go baseline, rounded drives. Nothing straight line drives in the NBA because we know that's a dunk. That's Sports Center automatically. Next one is cycle. So cycle, again, we like to talk about our fire, sink, fill. So as he's closing out, one, we have our free safety. Our weak side defenders are called our free safety. This is going to be the fire guy. Our sink guy is going to be our cornerback. Our sink guy is going to be our cornerback. So as he drives baseline, slowly for me, drive baseline, our fire guy is coming over. Our sink guy is dropping down to make sure that pass is there. And our fill guy is going towards the middle a little bit more. He's aware of the cutter, and he's aware of the pass too. Our CB, our cornerback, we like to call our cornerback. His terminology is, I have first pass, I have first pass. For this drill, we'll go to the baseline, but normally, if he kicks it to high quad, he knows he's going high quad. He knows he's getting back and going to the corner. That's all it is. So our free safety is always yelling free safety to make sure that the person on the ball, he's aware at all times that he knows that he has help behind him, and we're always communicating. That's one of our triple A's that we like to call: awareness, aggression, and activity. We want to dictate our pace. We want to be the victors and not the victim at all times. So we want to be loud, early, and communicate, okay? So the last, yes, sir. Oh, awareness, activity, and aggression. Yes, sir. So we want to dictate the pace at all times. We want to be the victors and not the victim. Yes, sir. Top corner, that's our sink guy. That's our sink guy. Yes, sir. Huh? No. Yeah, he's a cornerback, but he's a sink guy, right? The cornerback is a sink guy. Okay, and then our last absolute is going to be close. So close means we actually measure all of these. Connor can actually talk about it a little bit later. We actually measure all these. Close is simple. As soon as that shot goes up, I know I'm getting a hit. I'm checking him. I'm getting a hit, and I'm going to go get the rebound. Get it done. That's our last absolute. Close. Okay. So now we have a couple drills. We have 4 people on the perimeter, 4 people inside the paint. So we start off. Everybody on the perimeter has the ball. The weak side defenders are straddling the lane line. They have one foot in the paint, 1 foot out. These guys are touching hands together. On the clap of my hands, they're gonna close out. Walk it through. They're gonna close out. Make sure they have stick hands. They're gonna have activity, mirroring the ball, and then they're gonna reset. Go ahead. Let's start from the top. Hands. There you go. Go. So again, let's reset it. Can you close out the same way you close out? So, no, you didn't close out with that hand. You closed out with the other hand. So again, teaching point. Since this is our absolutes, you can be meticulous about this. Don't worry about it. There's no point of you can't overcoach this enough. So when he's closing out, do the close, same thing. That one encourages the middle drive easily. So one, we want to make sure that this outside his hand is there. His foot stance is discouraging that middle drive. So again, pick up points, feet, and presence on the ball. So let's start from the top and do that one more time, please. Ready, go. Good. Mirror the ball. Good. So again, that would be like 17 players. Each player will go through it maybe twice in different positions, however you want to do it. The second iteration of the phase is now is gonna be no middle, rounded drives. So again, on the clap of my hands, they're gonna come out, shot fake, no middle, chest, go through, they're gonna drive again, gonna cut them off, boom, and reset after that, okay? Hands on that backside, there you go. Ready, break. Good, no middle. Good, rounded drives.
Nowhere to go.
Yes, sir, good job, good job, good job. So now we'll reset again. Now we'll reset again. Now we'll do flybys. Again, I'm part of our close is contesting also too. We actually track those type of things. So contesting is part of our close. So Connie, you want to talk about it a little bit?
I was just going to say, Reg knows a lot about contesting, not just from his prolific G League career as a shot blocker, but because he tracked all of our threes all last season, every game.
Yes.
So these aren't just things that we're drilling in practice. There is some level of accountability that we had at least.
Yes.
Where we're able to go back and say, hey, look, Bruno, like, you got to get a hand up. Like, tonight you're only contesting half their shots, whatever it looks like. And
yes.
He was the one that did that. So it's been a key part for us to not just teach these things that we call absolutes, but to track them.
Yes, track them to keep ourselves accountable as coaches to make sure we're teaching them the right things, and also the players accountable. Because one thing they like to do, then after that game, they look at the absolute sheet, which we show after we do our film session, and they don't want to be that guy with all reds. They want to be that guy with all greens so they can talk their shit. Simple as that. It's simple as that. No one want to be that guy. So again, so now we'll do contest. So same thing. So now contest, we're working on a no middle. So at these shooting, we're flying by, boom, taking the dribble. We're getting back into the picture and making sure we're contest. We're trying to contest without fouling. We don't want to foul 3-point shooters. Ready, hands on that backside, go. There you go, good. Good job, good job, good job. Now, one basketball. You start with that ball. Can I get a pill, please? Thank you. Big dog. Thank you. So now, the last iteration, we usually put everything together. Now we work on our pickup points. Boom, he's talking the ball. Now we have our shift guy talking. He has his hands out. He's ready. He shifted early. He's not doing a double stunt shift where he's here, then he's getting back. He's there early, so just in case it's a pass, he's there, he's ready to go, okay? So now we have our shift right here. Our free safety, he's here. He's talking, he's telling everybody, free safety, free safety. He's making sure that he's loud and that he knows that he has help on the backside. Our cornerback here, our sing guy, he's yelling, first pass. So just in case they get kicked out, wherever it goes, he knows that he has first pass, okay? So we're gonna walk through this. So simple, he's gonna go, mirror the ball. He's talking free safety. He's gonna pass it. Take your time, Connor. Jump to the ball, there you go. Pass it, take your time. Pass it, take your time. Boom. Boom, drive in middle. Boom. Oh, freeze it. Connor, can you have the ball back there again, please? Can you pass the ball back there again? Let me do. So again, he's guarding him. Oh, can you start from the top, Connor? Sorry. So again, the key point here is, again, our shifts. We want to be here early. So we want to swipe to stunt. We call that a swipe stunt. We want to be there. We want to be here early and stunt. We don't want to be here, and then get there. We want to be there early to discourage that middle drive so he doesn't go middle. So he sees a body knowing that we would rather take this high quad three. We will take the high quad three versus that corner three any day.
For us, that is a shift and drift. It's not enough to just shift. You have to drift back to your man in situations where you'd be giving up like that, a high quad three.
Yes.
So you got to shift and drift. And for this guy, he's just got to keep pursuing.
Yes.
Be physical, and it's his job to get back.
Being there early. Yep. So again, drive early. You're outside, yep. Boom. Free safety, there you go. Circle back, pass. Let him go past you, charge. So we end just like that, usually end just like that. Either we'll take a charge, depending on what we're working on that day, it could be verticality, all depending on what we're working on that day, but usually we end with a charge, okay? So we'll go through that. We'll go through that full session. We'll go through that full session.
Fire, sink, fill.
Take your time. Take your time on that pass. Make sure they mirror the ball. There you go. There you go. Early. Perfect. Perfect. Good job. Yes.
That is a non-negotiable.
We make sure you don't do that. Yes. That's a fact.
Enjoy it a lot.
Any questions? Any questions?
When you were doing the contest drill,
Yes.
so they're flying out, like, are you trying to teach them to block their jump shooter? Like,
No, honestly speaking, we're kind of simulating a long closeout, a situation where, you know, we have short closeout, long closeout. So, for example, you stay here. We might be rotating. It might be a short closeout, then he swings it here. We know that's a shooter. We know that's Bogdanovich. We don't want that three. So we don't mind coming off the line, knowing that we're still getting back, we're still getting inside the play. We're not just contesting and running out. We know that our intention is to get back into that play.
so that's definitely a matchup.
Huh? It's a matchup thing and awareness. But for that, we just want to make sure our guys get used to contesting so they have that habit of when they contest, not just dying on the play, but getting back into it. So that's really what it is. Yes.
Can we talk about the transition defense?
Yes.
No purgatory?
Yes, ma'am.
And you only got 2 options. Is that just for the person that was opposite, or who had
That's for everybody. Everybody. Whoever doesn't shoot, you have 2 options. Yes. You either crash or you get back. Simple.
As far as the crashing piece goes, she asked about the crashing on the
No purgatory.
transition defense. Generally, it's jumpers that we're encouraging the crash on.
Yes.
If you're doing something in the paint, we don't want you to run into the paint when they're about to be going the other way. We
Yes.
don't know. I mean, missed layups are the easiest generator for transition. So that's jumpers, and yes, like everyone has the freedom and they can choose, but they have to do one.
We're really big on if it's a layup going to layup, the corner guy should already see that and know that it's not going to be a late pass. He should be already on his way on his bicycle going back on transition. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Yes.
At the very beginning level for kids who are just learning the game, what would you say are the big 3 absolutes that you would teach them?
I would say presence on the ball, shifts contains, and last one, I would say close, getting hits. Making sure they're used to embracing that contact and not being afraid of that, especially young players. Yeah.
Okay, you said you don't want to be that guy in the red, you want to be that guy in the green. What consequences do you give them? Because we're trying to get my players to be held accountable.
Yeah.
And get that repetition, crash, get back.
Yeah.
We stand and watch a lot.
So counter contest, we actually had 4 things we used to track. We used to track our contests, we used to track our shifts, we used to track our no purgatory, and we used to track our hits. Our hits.
So how do you, I'm saying, how do you?
So the way we track it, just to answer the question, is that we're lucky we have a really big staff. And so we'll be on the plane after a game, and me and a few other guys, we will go through and watch the film. Reg watches every game after the game for every player, every shot. So we'll say, beat Krejci, you didn't contest all your shots. You had 11 opportunities to contest jump shots, you contested 6. We have some metrics in there that we think are the standard for good versus not good, what's a reasonable expectation. And it's on them to meet that. But we go through and watch our games again and track these categories. So that might not be feasible at every level, right? We know we're lucky in the way that we have me sitting around to do that. But maybe you have one thing. If it's a particular problem one game, you track that one thing, and if you put those numbers on the board, that's sure to generate some buy-in or at least some reaction.
Yes. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. This is a guy, we're going to send you into this good night with hearing from the legend here. He's done it all, from high school with Morgan Wooten and DeMatha to becoming the winningest coach in the history of Notre Dame. It's our 2nd year with us. It has been an absolute joy and delight to have Mike Bray on this Hawks coaching staff. And I tell you, I thought I knew a lot of people in basketball. He knows everybody in basketball. And he's been such a great mentor. Ask these young guys, these young coaches, how much he means. Coach, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But we wanted to end the night, I call him the Coach Whisperer. because he talks to coaches all the time, and he's got some words to share with you. So I'll turn it over to the one, the only Mike Brent.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you. I know we're getting ready for practice, and I wish you luck as you get started, right? I started, as Bob said, I started as a history teacher and a high school coach, JV coach at DeMatha High School for Morgan Wooten. And I heard some of the questions that Quinn got earlier about getting into coaching. And I finished my playing career at George Washington University. And Coach Wooten said I was going to stay on as a grad assistant and chase the college coaching dream. And he said, you know what? If you're going to be a coach, you got to have your own team. You got to come over with me, coach the JV. Little did I know, a Catholic school salary was the oath of poverty. I made less than the priests at DeMatha at the time, but it was an unbelievable learning experience to teach history, coach the JV, and work with Coach Wooten. And I was really touched by him. He used to say something, and I started as a high school educator, as many of you. He used to have a phrase, be the kind of coach you'd want your own son and daughter to play for. And when I was younger and I didn't have any kids, I didn't really know what the hell that meant. And then I had children, and it was really a hell of a theme when you think back to how we handle individuals, especially the age group, and I know we have mostly high school here, the age group that you all are handling. Be the kind of coach you want your own son and daughter to play for. One of the themes that we evolved into my last couple years at Notre Dame was to be a confidence giver. How can we give confidence and make a young person really kind of believe and do things they've never experienced? The other theme, as we know, as you get into your practices here, I think in a week, and we go through the marathon, that's a season. One of the phrases I would tell my staff a lot of times is, remember, we battle for their hearts and minds every day. Again, I don't know what we're running on zone offense or press defense, but where's everybody's head at every day? And I know I spent many staff meetings the first 10 minutes going, we're not going to talk about how to attack Syracuse's zone. I know you guys have a lot of good ideas. Who do I need to talk to today? Where's his head? How do we get him ready? He's struggling. The great thing about basketball, because our roster is 13 to 15, don't you get to know all your players like your own son and daughter? Which is great. Someone asked about relationships with Quinn and investing in them, right? They walk into practice, you know how they're walking. He may have had a bad day today. She may have had a bad day. How do I diffuse that? How do I handle that? Before we even start to talk about how we're going to defend North Carolina or NC State. So, I wish you luck as you go through your journey. Can you stay somewhere in the middle, right? This game we coach, the highs are amazingly high, the lows are tough. Can you stay somewhere in the middle there and really enjoy it? And I used to say when I got to be an older coach in the ACC, I used to say when the young guys would come up before the game and go, God, this and that, I said, hey, remember now, this still beats a real job. This still beats a real job. So anyways, thank you for being here with us. Come out and watch some games. Quinn is an amazing connector of people, as you can tell. I had the privilege when I got to Duke in 1988 as an assistant, Quin Snyder was our point guard. So I actually got to coach him and watch him. And I've never seen a better college leader as a player his senior year in 1989. Danny Ferry was on that team, went to the Final Four. So his track is almost kind of predictable, leading young people. Have a great evening. Have a great fall. Good luck. Go Hawks. Go everything, baby. We'll see you.
Awesome, buddy.
Thank you, man.